Hi guys, I hope you're all doing well. I'm making this video tonight because I got overwhelmed by teachers and comments regarding Dazao and several other online teaching companies. Um, so I'm going to approach this as tactfully as I can. Let me start with Dazao. I made a video about Dazao maybe a month and a half ago. Uh, I made this video because I was getting annoyed by the fact that the recruiters were insulting my teachers on our page, which I told you is completely unacceptable. I warned their recruiters that if they continue that, I'm going to block them. Not the company entirely, but the specific recruiters. Um, I love our page and the way that it works because, for the most part, we treat each other with a lot of respect. And we go about our daily lives, and our posts on our page are primarily constructive and informative. So, in that video, I'm going to repeat my facts. I said that is, this company is quite questionable when it comes to its working ethics and the way that it treats its teachers. Okay. This I said 2 months ago, and I didn't say it because I wanted to be right. In fact, I hope that they might change their attitude because ultimately, for me, it's about um, our teachers getting appreciated and getting treated with respect. Although being appreciated and being treated with respect is not only an ethical obligation that any company has towards its employees, but it is a necessary requirement for any company to function properly. Um, Based on the feedback that I got today, evidently, unfortunately, I was completely correct about Dazao. They just went about and dismissed countless teachers. Um, I had recruiters who don't only recruit for Dazao, um, who contacted me, sent me inboxes, and they're all shocked. Teachers just got removed from their portals and their sites and their groups without any notice. They're just removed. Now, okay, I live in a small town in the Eastern Cape. 2 months ago, I made a video warning everybody about what is about to happen in China. I did say in that video I don't suspect that this will be online teaching Armageddon. I stand by that because, for the most part, I think the Chinese government is doing a trial run on this, and they certainly won't continue implementing any legislation that causes them more problems than anything good. How they assess the outcome of this legislation, that is anybody's guess. I could tell you what I was taught at university on how governments assess this, but I mean, it's a reactionary government, and it's quite impossible to determine what they will decide. As for their reasoning, I'm going to unfortunately have to take their part because I've taught so many Chinese kids at night, and these kids were utterly exhausted after 8, 9 hours of being taught at school, then an additional 2 hours, that's 10 hours on a 6-year-old little child, 10 years old. I think for the average adult, 10 hours of education a day would be overwhelming. And their primary reason for making this change, from what I can gather, is that these kids they're being burnt out, overwhelmed with too much work. And so I'm not going to go into that. It's just not constructive. They'll do what they want to do, and nothing that we say or do will change that. I'm just saying, to be fair, to be play devil's advocate, in a big way, one can justify their attitude towards many of these online companies. Chinese companies, and some of them are not Chinese companies, but uh, foreign companies teaching primarily Chinese students, and because they were only pushing for money and they did not care about the well being of the kids, the Chinese government felt that they had to step in and regulate it. And for that part, I do not blame them. I wouldn't want anybody to do that to any of my kids. As a president of a country, I might actually think that this was a good idea. What is not a good idea is for a company like Dazao to hide behind that legislation. And I don't want to hear anybody come to me and tell me, yes, but it's not their fault that the Chinese government changed the legislation. Fair enough, it's not their fault. Okay. But it is not my job to predict the outcome, or at least assess it rationally, and then to make an assessment with regards to what might happen in the future. Unfortunately, I was right. Please don't get me wrong. This video is not a I told you so video. This is just to illustrate to you how unethical this company has conducted itself. Despite the fact that they were well aware of this impending doom, so to speak, which it did not have to be, which I'll explain right now, they continued hiring teachers. For what reason? I do not know. No rational minded human being would do something like that. What upsets me tonight is I've worked so hard with some of my teachers to get them jobs. Now I can imagine somebody who worked really hard to pass their interview with Dazao. They just got really excited, just started their first classes, and suddenly one morning they log on and they're just not allowed on the group chats anymore. They've been informed that they don't work for the company anymore. What do you think that does to the morale of that teacher? Most especially if it is somebody that is new to the industry. How can you justify doing that? So, yes, I'm not having a self-righteous rant, as I call it, but I am telling you that this company really, like so many others, don't care about you or your well-being. And even today, despite all of that, I saw some of their employees trying to recruit more teachers. Well, my goodness, you live long enough, you see everything. Okay. Their conduct it's inexplicable. Okay. Aristotle said, if you argue with a fool, you will slap yourself with his ignorance. And there's a part in the Bible about it as well, which I don't want to quote the Bible incorrectly, but there is something about arguing with a fool. So I did not argue with their recruiters. I've done it in the past, too busy with other things. But, if they want to continue, and please give me feedback on the comments, because I am not a dictator, and one of the major reasons why I have the blog is to get feedback in the first place, because I don't think I know everything. But honestly, they fired without notice how many of my teachers on my page. And I'm upset because I can see these teachers are now, it's not just the emotional damage that it does. These people planned on having an income next month. Some of the people on our page have kids, guys. They need to pay their rent, put food on the table. Okay. What annoys me and upsets me a lot, and it takes a lot to upset me, is because they should not have gone onto a hiring spree when they have no idea what the Chinese government was about to do. And they can't say they had no idea. They might claim that in their defense, but I mean, Reuters has been warning us since 2 months ago. Okay, I made a video about it. If I could pick up the risk in doing it, surely their specialists and HR managers should have been at least competent enough to see the potential danger in hiring teachers recklessly and distributing classes to teachers who were hired predominantly to serve the needs of the additional students that they might acquire during spring break. Now, I suspect, from what I can gather, a lot of teachers who got recently employed just got laid off without notice, And some of their regular teachers are probably also getting laid off. From what I can gather, they're still teaching adults. Now, I haven't spoken to the other admin on the page, and I certainly don't make any of these decisions on my own. But if they want to continue advertising on our page, then I am certainly going to recommend to the other admins on our page that if we continue getting complaints about their unethical conduct towards teachers, let's not talk about their hourly rate, which starts at $4. $4. Okay. I know, I know everybody can't get $20 an hour. And I am going to be mildly repetitive by stating I respect you if you work for $5 an hour. I respect you because you chose not to sit and complain and sulk. You chose to get up, work, and feed your family and pay your rent. You have no idea how much respect I have for you for doing that. But $4 an hour, I don't know if it's going to elevate you out of poverty. Because consider you have to pay for your internet fees, you need to pay for your laptop, you need to pay for your rent. I don't know if $320 a month is even worth doing. Because you can always work for very little. But if you're going to spend more than you get in, then I start considering it to be highly exploitative, borderline slave labor. Sure, if you want to pick up some experience, so on. Who am I to tell you what to do? Certainly not going to. But I am telling you that this company does not care about its employees. And if any of its employees watch this video, you can think of me what you want. I will never apply to Dazao. I did once for the sake of doing the interview process. I never even got back to them. Now I'm glad I didn't. Because I applied to many companies simply to go through the application process so that I can give my teachers feedback or a review on the company. I've seen so many teachers complain that they don't only not get appointed, it's just like with Cambly, they just often don't get any response at all. So what they did was just really bad business, terrible ethics, and a total lack of respect for other human beings. Okay, total disregard. So if they want to continue advertising on our page and we continue getting complaints, I will copy and paste these complaints, share it with the other admin, discuss it with them. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they are on thin ice. And if anybody watching this is a Dazao recruiter, listen to me very carefully. If you're going to advertise for Dazao on our page and teachers write negative feedback on that advertisement of yours, it's on you. It's on you. I am not going to scold my teachers for sharing their experiences with your company. And I mean, you brought it upon yourself. I mean, I'm literally drowned in feedback today, in one day, just from having a normal day to having my inboxes go like crazy. Not to mention the discussions that we had on our page. So, guys, this is not the end of the world. Always tell yourself, this might very well change. And at the moment, it is. Look, the hours will be reduced in general, but they won't be stopped entirely. As far as I know, Chinese companies will still be employing teachers. The primary effect that this legislation has at the moment is only on the spring break classes. It does have an effect on ordinary classes that are being taught as well, but the immediate effect it has is only on the spring break classes. So I'm not telling anybody or advising anybody not to apply to Chinese online teaching companies, because there might very well still be jobs available, and enough hours for who knows how many teachers to make a decent living, or at least to contribute to making a decent living. Like I said, we work in an industry where it's not very unusual to work for four companies at the same time. In fact, it's quite advisable considering the nature of the industry that we're in at the moment, especially now is, I think, probably one of the hardest times to be an online teacher. I recently posted a video with links for for non-Chinese companies. Some of the other teachers on our page, thank you guys. You are amazing. They assisted. That's why I love our page and the type of interaction that we have with one another. It's not only civilized, but it's also really uplifting. And let's try to sustain that. Um, but if companies like Dazao come in, it causes a lot of trouble. I already saw that this one lady advertised for them today. I thought, let me take it down, but I don't do stuff just like I'm not as reactionary as they are. Otherwise, it's the pot calling the kettle black. So if you're working for Chinese companies, this is not anything new. Just make sure that you have something or try to get something to balance out the risk factor. Okay. It's, I mean, anybody that has ever studied statistics, it is always important. Also, when you do business economics or if you have a business portfolio with certain parts of the portfolio which is a higher risk and a lower risk level, and the idea is to balance them out so that at certain times the higher risk investments can produce usually a lot more interest than the lower risks, and over the years they balance out into a profit. So the same is when you work with online teaching. Uh, and when you make your assessment for which company you're going to work for, don't only look at the hourly rate. Look at their booking rate. There are some teachers I know that can pay $9, $10 an hour, but the booking rate is so amazing that they earn 25, 30,000 rand a month. And that isn't a bad income. For one thing, that is more than an in-class teacher in South Africa earns. And remember, that's a net income because they don't have deductions. So I'm also not going to debate the semantics of that. If you're getting paid 20,000 rand a month, that is good money. Okay. Considering your overheads and so on. And take those things into account. I am trying my best to get more sources, more schools for you. I have a little bit more time on my hands at the moment than usual, but not so much, but a little bit more than usual, and I will use that free time to and invest into finding some more reliable companies. Okay, guys, I wish you all the best. We will survive this. Like I always joke and I always said in other videos as well. As South Africans, we have survived so many adversities. And every time the whole world says, finally, now it's over for them, we come back, win a gold medal, break a world record, or we beat the British and Irish Lions in rugby, or take a World Cup. That is usually a day after they said this is the end of us. So we are resilient and we are not going to give up. You need to have faith, you need to be persistent, and you need to be strong. Okay? And I'm not saying this from a position of comfort, but definitely from a position of faith. And I've learned to hold on to that, and I'm not preaching to you, but you need to have faith to survive in this industry. Everybody I know, as far as online teachers are concerned, that have ever made any sort of success from this industry has gone through hell and back again. And it's when they come back again that they're actually successful and settled in. And to those of you who have lost your jobs today and yesterday, my heart is with you, my thoughts are with you. I am terribly saddened by what the loss of income that you've experienced, and I will do my very best, and by the grace of God, hopefully you will find something to replace what you had. Um, we will continuously try to support each other. I suggest to everybody apply to Pelfish. They might not have young classes for young kids anymore, but on the free talk you can certainly get some students. I'm still getting calls from adult students, and another suggestion is that you might want to start looking at teaching adults as well. It's just something to consider. It's teaching adults isn't for everybody, but if you need to sometimes go through tough times. You need to adjust and adapt a little bit. Um, I am sorry tonight. I thought I was at loggerheads about whether I should make this or not, but then at the same time, I feel that I'm morally obligated. In other words, the Chinese shitstorm has hit us now. It's now a reality, and it's no longer a debate. So, instead of sulking and crying, let's figure out together what we are going to do next. Okay. Guys, I wish you all the best. God bless. Be safe. Wear your masks. Get vaccinated. And I hope to see you guys soon. I will try to arrange a Zoom meeting again. And then the topic of discussion in our next Zoom meeting will be preparing for interviews, demos, and how to find new employment. I'll teach you some of my hunting tricks that I use to get new jobs, and I hope that that can help some of you who have lost your jobs to get new companies to employ you. And because there are not so many left, I think we should really focus on making our interviews as good as possible, our introduction videos, and preparing our demos as well as possible. Because the market is shrinking and the amount of teachers are increasing. So we are not one of the 100 other online teaching pages. We are online teaching page South Africa support. Support. Okay. So we will support each other. Ex unitate vires. We pull together. We will survive this. Okay. Cheers, guys.